Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Chloe and I'm a tattoo apprentice. And in this video, I'm just going to give you some tips about how you can land a tattoo apprenticeship. It can be really hard to land a tattoo apprenticeship. I think everyone kind of knows that now. But hopefully these tips will make things a little bit easier for you. I did a lot of research before getting my apprenticeship, and these are kind of some things that I wish I'd known beforehand, or some things that I kind of knew that were kind of common sense. But for a lot of people getting into the industry, it can be really daunting, and I think it's always really helpful just to give people some pointers along the way. So whether you're dreaming of becoming a tattoo artist at some point, or you just really want to know how it all works, this video is going to save you a lot of time, a lot of stress, and hopefully will be very helpful for you getting a tattoo apprenticeship. So first things first, the most important thing by far is having a portfolio. And I feel like you might not even understand how many people think they can get one without a portfolio. I've been getting tattooed before and people have come in asking for apprenticeships and they've literally come along with nothing. Like, they don't even have a bag with them that even insinuates they've got a portfolio, no pockets, no nothing. So you need to understand that your portfolio is basically your CV. If you don't have a portfolio, you have nothing. Like, what do you have to show any potential mentors what your art is like? How do they even know if you can draw? You have to have one. It's really like the most essential thing you could possibly have if you're trying to get an apprenticeship. I'll probably make a video at some point, like a separate video at some point, talking about the kind of things you need in your portfolio. But for the meantime, what I'll just say is make sure that you have a number of different styles. It's really good to have some real staple tattoo styles. Think American trad, Japanese trad, black work, line work, maybe a little bit of script as well. Things that are kind of artist bread and butter that you're going to be expected to do, especially if you end up in like a walk-in style shop. They're going to be the styles that you're expected to do, you're expected to learn. You need versatility in order to really excel. So make sure you've got some things that show that you're really competent in those styles. Some people naturally gravitate towards certain things. Like for me, I always really wanted to get into Japanese traditional, so I had most of the pages of my portfolio tailored to that. Although I did have a couple of pages here and there of American trad. I also did some kind of like more line work kind of things. I also had a couple of portraits. So really just expand out and play to your strengths, but also remember to add in some things that you've thought of that you could translate into tattoos. So be mindful of that. Be mindful of tattoo composition and how it's going to work with the body and all of those kind of things. These are the kind of things that mentors are going to look for when they look through your portfolio to see how much potential you've got. So it's really important that you include these things into your portfolio to give yourself the best chance of getting a yes. One more thing that I'll add about the portfolio thing as well is also a lot of people seem to be gravitating towards digital stuff, like on an iPad, which is great. And at some point you probably will need an iPad. Obviously, a lot of artists use Procreate and things like that to print off their work and make quick changes and stuff like that. But really, you need to be able to also draw on paper. So whether it's drawing, painting, whatever it is, make sure you have some artwork in there that shows that you can just go back to basics, pen on paper, paintbrush on paper, whatever it is, and show your skills that way as well, because Procreate can just make things very easy for people to create certain types of artwork that they may not be able to recreate if they did it on paper. And I think fundamentally, to be a good tattoo artist, you have to be a good artist first. And if you don't have that, then you don't really have much of a ground to being a good tattoo artist. So focus on your art skill, get it up to scratch. Don't use Procreate for everything. There's nothing wrong with having a couple of digital pieces in there, but certainly don't make your entire portfolio digital artwork based. If you're going to put some stuff in there, put it in, have a couple of pages, but certainly don't do the full thing as just like a digital portfolio. I think most artists will want to see versatility and range and show them what you can actually do. Hi everyone, Chloe from the future here. So I can't find the clip of me introducing my next point I had. I have literally no idea where it went, so sorry about that. But what I was going to say was it's really important for you to go into tattoo shops in person rather than sending them an email or a DM. But it makes it so much more memorable to these artists and to these studios that you're going into that you've actually seen them in person, and you've taken the time out of your day to go and show your face, and they've taken the time out of their day to actually look through your portfolio. Obviously, Rejection is really hard for a lot of people. I thought I was going to take it really badly, but you know what? After the first studio that I went into and the nerves, my best friend can attest to this. Angel, if you're out there, then tell the people that I was so nervous going into that first studio because I didn't know what to expect. You know, I kind of felt like they would probably say no because how the industry is at the moment, and obviously I didn't think the first place I was going to go into they would just say, yeah, sure, here's an apprenticeship. But actually, once you do that first one and they say no, the next ones is it's a piece of cake. You go in, I felt confident in myself that I could do art and this is what I knew I wanted to do. So you have to just believe in yourself. And you know, every single rejection that you have, there'll be a reason behind it. Most places aren't saying no just because they want to say no. And especially if they take the time to look through your portfolio and give you constructive criticism, that can really help you as an artist because you can take that and then you can apply it to your portfolio, and then hopefully further on down the line, because you've taken these opinions on, this constructive criticism on, hopefully that will strengthen your portfolio. So it does kind of help out really. You know, whether you get a yes or a no, I don't think you have to worry too much about getting rejected. It sounds bad when you say rejected, but ultimately that's what it is. But it's really not as bad as you think. And obviously it has to be said, I feel like a lot of shops are now starting to put apprenticeship opportunities on things like Instagram. So, you know, in that kind of instance, yeah, of course, it's fine. Send them a DM, send them an email, whatever it says to do, you know, you can get in contact with them digitally, and I think that's fine. But I think if you are going the very traditional route, which is sort of what I did because I didn't see really any adverts on Instagram when I was looking for mine. I think when you go that route, yeah, it's really good to just go in person and show your face and show them that you're really serious about becoming a tattoo artist. So, next point. This is so important, guys. Please do your research. Please, please, please do your research. If you do research to go and get a tattoo, then you should also do your research about getting a tattoo apprenticeship and where to get a tattoo apprenticeship, because there are so many shops out there that will literally just take advantage of apprenticeships. They'll say, yeah, sure, come on board, like we'll teach you, da 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 da. But then actually you realize like a year down the line, you're still just cleaning the shop every day and you actually haven't really learned anything. You've not even tattooed on some fruit or, you know, had any real insight into the world of tattooing and what you should be doing and the technical kind of aspects. My first day at my apprenticeship, I was setting up for artists. I was destationing them. So I was like taking all their stuff down after they tattooed. And, you know, they were getting me to draw little things and see what kind of things I could draw in certain styles. From then, I mean, I've been doing my apprenticeship for just over 2 months, I think. And I've already been like tattooing fruit and stuff like that. You know, obviously there's still a long way to go. And not every single apprenticeship follows a certain timeline. But if you can't see that you're actually progressing, maybe you should call it quits. And obviously, because tattoo apprenticeships traditionally are unpaid, it means that mentors, these bad mentors, can get away with somebody doing cheap labor around the shop. They don't have to pay them, they don't have to teach them, they can do it all under the guise of an apprenticeship. So it works out for them, but it doesn't work out for you, and you don't want to get the bum end of a deal. So make sure you do your research before going to these shops. If you're getting tattooed by artists, it's a really, really good idea to bring this up, you know, that you are looking for an apprenticeship, and I'll make this another point about networking, but it's really important that you talk to artists, try and figure out from them what shops are good to ask in the area. If they're not offering an apprenticeship at that time, can they point you to shops that they would recommend? Can they say, this is a good shop, we know the people from this shop, they're the good guys, you know, go and ask them. Or here are the shops that you should avoid. That's what I did in mine. I remember I got tattooed by a guy in Brighton. He was really kind and lovely to me, and he said, I'll drop you a message about what shops are good, which shops to avoid, because obviously if these artists are already in the industry, they're going to know certain things that you as an apprentice or a potential apprentice may not know. So they'll know which ones are the good ones, which ones aren't. He actually did give me some pointers about which ones not to bother with, because they just were not going to offer a good apprenticeship. So I'm very, very grateful for that, because ultimately all you'll be doing is wasting your time. So make sure you do as much research as possible. Obviously, I know that you can only really do so much without going in and actually getting an apprenticeship and experiencing it for yourself, but do as much as you can beforehand. And unfortunately, you know, if you do end up with a quote unquote bad apprenticeship where you're not learning anything, you can just say no. You can say, do you know what, this really isn't working out for me. And if you don't see yourself progressing, There's absolutely nothing wrong with saying, it's not working out for me, I'm going to go and find something else. You know, it does feel like a setback at the time, I'm sure, but at the same time, you have to prioritize your mental health, your well-being over the potential that you may end up getting somewhere in that apprenticeship if you don't really feel like you are. So my next point kind of follows on from the last one I said about networking. Networking, really, really important. Obviously, it's important as somebody that is looking for an apprenticeship to go out and get tattooed and speak to tattoo artists. I feel like a lot of people say it because it's true. So make sure you spend some time and some money going and getting tattooed by artists and asking them questions. And most artists you'll find are very open to answering your questions. And most of them have no issue with you just sort of picking their brains on how to go about getting an apprenticeship. Obviously, getting to know local artists by getting tattooed by them or going to conventions. Obviously, there's so many conventions that happen now. There's a big one in London, big one in Brighton. There's ones all over the country, all over the world. You know, they've got so many in America as well. You know, try and build up a relationship with them, follow them on social media, send them a DM if you know them well enough to do that. That's sort of what I was doing. And, you know, really just like use that as an opportunity to get some more insider info about how you should go about things. They'll be the best people that you can ask. And like I said, most of them are very willing to give you some tips and some pointers and maybe even look through your portfolio for you. I remember the last tattoo that I got. I remember asking the lady there if she wouldn't mind because we were having a chat about it. She was the loveliest. She looked through my portfolio for me. She gave me some constructive criticism and she really was kind of the catalyst to make me go, okay, this is really what I want to do and I'm just going to go for it. Don't be put off by people saying no. I guess also this kind of links into one of the other points that I made. You have to be persistent. Most people are not just going to go straight into an apprenticeship with the first shop that they go into. It does take time. I got quite lucky with mine that I didn't have to do too much in order to get mine. I know there are some people that they've been looking for years and years and years and it still just doesn't come to fruition for them. I got quite lucky. The studio that I am in now, they were the first ones that worked out. So I got very lucky in that sense. But don't worry about how long it takes. Obviously, everyone knows that you really want to get into it, but just be persistent. It's like with anything in life, you just keep trying and eventually you will get there, no matter how long it takes. Okay, so this is going to be my final point. And I think this is one that a lot of people miss out on, but it's just about being teachable and making sure that you have the kind of attitude for it, have the kind of personality for it. Obviously, you have to remember that tattooing is a social job. It's essentially a customer service job. You know, you're dealing with people every single day. So you need to have the right kind of personality. I'm not saying you have to be the chattiest person in the world. You have to be most, what's the word that I'm looking for? Extroverted person in the world. I'm definitely not. I need my downtime. But at the same time, you need to know how to talk to people and you need to know how to be teachable. If you go into shops and you have this kind of attitude that you think you're the best, like you're God's gift, that's going to be really off-putting to a lot of potential mentors and a lot of studios, because what you find is a lot of studios, they don't want this kind of drama. And if you bring that kind of attitude in, that's not really going to help your cause. So you need to make sure that you're humble enough to take on board criticism, that you're humble enough to make sure that you're not going to feel some type of way when they ask you to clean the shop or they ask you to do certain things, because ultimately that's what we all have to do as apprentices. I don't know a single apprentice that has gone in and hasn't had to start at the very bottom, but that's the difference between working in a good shop and working in a bad shop, is that even though when you're an apprentice and you do start at the bottom, they won't make you feel like you're insignificant. Always make sure you're ready to learn, take notes if you need to, accept feedback, and use that to really better yourself as an artist, because it will all come in really, really handy when you finally do end up graduating, I guess, from your apprenticeship and becoming a tattoo artist. I hope these tips were helpful. Hopefully it's going to help you along on your journey to finally becoming a tattoo apprentice or a tattoo artist, I guess, both of them really. But yeah, if you found this video helpful, remember, be a lover, not a hater, hit subscribe, hit like, drop me a comment. If I've missed out any questions that you want me to answer, then drop them in the comments and I would love to help out. Maybe I might create another video about it. I will see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye guys.